What a historic night we just watched. Can't believe it. Patrick Marleau now stands alone for the all-time games played. And unfortunately, the Sharks just couldn't pull it out for him, losing 3-2 in the shootout against the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll be back to break it down after this. But first, if you want to be a part of the show, please follow us on all of the social media garbage. That is Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Of course, you can hit us up in the YouTube chat, SoundCloud, Reddit, and of course, all the shenanigans happening on the Discord. But you can find it all under the umbrella website, tealtownusa.com, where we've got some great content up, and you can catch all of the replays of the show. So tonight I am joined by Mark Eisenberg. How you doing, Mark?
I'm great. How are you?
Well, to be honest with you, I could be better. I was really, I was really hoping that the Sharks would, win out tonight for Patty. But I think, honestly, we just have to take away and kind of bask in the historical greatness that is, Mr. Shark. It was such a class move by the NHL for Gary Bettman to have that nice opening for Patty. The Golden Knights fans were very gracious as well for Patty. And honestly, it was just first class all the way. And our Mr. Shark deserves nothing more than the best. So I'm glad that the festivities and everything went well. Glad that the teams were able to get together on a presentation of sorts. And the Sharks, I think, played a pretty good game, I think, overall. However, just kind of fallen short. So anyways, Mark, I guess first off, what's your favorite Patrick Marleau memory?
Oof. That's actually a tough one. There's so many memories of him. Probably one of the OT winners, I'd say, from the playoffs. I mean, is there any guy who's had more game-winning goals than this guy? I know during his career there were times where people, questioned some of his playoff performances, but I always kind of felt the opposite. I always thought this guy, he scored big goals. He scored goals in the playoffs, and kind of goals he had in playoffs and regular season. It's just amazing. So I'd say one of the OT winners probably has to be a top memory for me of him.
Yeah, no, I definitely second that as well. I think for me, it had to be that overtime winner, Jumbo setting him up, I think, on one of those Detroit series. I think, if I remember correctly, and this is going back a little bit, but I think it was the one where they were almost about to have the epic collapse where they were up 3-0 on Detroit, and Detroit came all the way back to Game 7, and I think Jeremy Roenick, calls him out pregame or the game before or whatever, and Patty ends up, scoring the game winner in overtime on a setup by Jumbo, and honestly just capping off that run. And yeah, I mean, Patrick Marleau starting as a youngin in the league in '97. For those who are really OG Sharks fans will remember he didn't start off as number 12, but as number 14. That's kind of why Puck Guy, just for everybody out there. But if you didn't know, Puck Guy 14, the 14 is because of Patrick Marleau. So, it's very fitting that he's got that in his handle. And I thought one thing that the guys brought up on the broadcast tonight was that Gordie Howe, had kind of always been linked to this franchise in a very weird way. When the team was announced in San Jose and they were debuting the jersey, it was actually Gordie Howe who came out to San Jose and repped the jersey and really, kind of gave it some authenticity and gave it some some of that clout that only, Mr. Hockey could provide. And, fittingly, you have Patrick Marleau breaking his record and standing alone, at the top of the games played list. And for me, it's not only the games played, but it's the longevity of the career. And, I can't believe how far, he has gone in his career. He's not won the big shiny thing, but damn, he's come close and done so much on the international level, so much, for his communities that he was a part of, whether it be, in San Jose or Toronto, nothing but good things from Patrick Marleau. So, very, 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 very humble player. I think he would deflect any and all praise and say that, it was his teammates around him that allowed him to have such longevity. And again, just an amazing career, amazing player. Somebody that we as Sharks fans were fortunate enough to watch. And we've got to take this one in and just kind of bask in the historic night. And again, it's really unfortunate that the team couldn't pull out a win for him. But I think where the team is at right now, this is probably the best that they could muster, with, everything going on. Mark, I want, the floor is yours. Take it away on your thoughts on Patty and his career and just this particular milestone.
Yeah, absolutely. As some people know, I'm an East Coast Sharks fan. So growing up in New York, I had a few favorites back then. Jeff Friesen was kind of my first favorite Shark. I always liked guys who were fast. And then I still remember watching the draft when Marleau was drafted and just being excited about watching him the following season. And I also have ties to Seattle because I have a lot of family there. So him coming from the Thunderbirds.
Yep.
These were things that were kind of exciting, him coming in. And then just watching him play that team with Marco Sturm as well, just the speed that they had, it was just electrifying to watch, especially as a young person like me who was kind of out of the local market. So watching those games, he was just an easy fan favorite right from the start for me. So there definitely were some other players who came along the way who may have become my favorites one time or another, but Marleau is kind of the one that I always kind of have that like soft spot for, because in my youth years, he was the guy that I was pretending to be in my parents' basement, or like just even when I was playing myself, I kind of wanted to be the fast skater that he was,
Yeah, I totally agree. And, for me, the first jersey, the first of the modern era Shark logo jerseys was of course Patrick Marleau. And he, for me, epitomized the way that the team should play, and again, being so professional. There were a lot of times where his personality, I think, left me wanting more, insofar as, wanting him to be a little bit more demonstrative, a little bit more of a vocal leader, but he was never that player and never was going to be that player. He's always just been a humble guy and just loved the game and loved playing it. And again, I think it's a testament to his longevity, the way that he's played the game and the high level that he's played at for so long. So
yeah,
very,
I
very.
think a lot of it.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, I just think a lot of that comes from those years with Jeremy Roenick, where it was coming public that maybe he was a little too quiet at times. But, I think that was always kind of also the charm about Marleau. It's like everything he did was on the ice. He just led by example. He led by his performance. There's a place on teams for both the guys who are loud as well as the ones who are quiet. But Marleau was one of those guys who, you'd see his excitement when he'd score one of those late third period goals or an OT winner. And you could see that he wasn't just coasting. This guy was playing with heart. He's playing with passion. So I always thought that was kind of a good trait of his, despite the fact that he wasn't quite the loudmouth of someone like Jeremy Roenick,
Yeah. And the thing is, Jeremy Roenick come and go, and you had another one of my favorites was Owen Nolan, who came and went and had some friction with Patty. And at the end of the day, who's the one that ends up surviving all of the years? It's Patrick, right? I mean, and so I think it just goes to show you that not only did he play the game the right way, but I think he also really took his conditioning as part of his craft. And I mean, I don't ever remember a time seeing him in a camp not being ready, and not being not only not ready, but just not physically there. I think he always came to camp in the greatest of shape, and really, again, just a testament to how much of a hard worker the guy is. So, again, awesome to see Patty break the record. Awesome to see that the all-times game leader is wearing a Shark jersey, wearing our teal proudly. I think after tonight, I think we'll definitely see more outpouring of Patty to the Hall. I think that, honestly, at this point, if you're mentioned in the same breath as Yager and Messier and Howe and Del Vecchio and all of the other ones that had been further up on that list, if he's not there, I think it would be such a crime, such a crime and such a shame. And again, it's just having a career like that. I think it just speaks for itself. So yeah, awesome. And I think with that being said, I think we'll hop into the game. I mean, the Sharks tonight, in that first period, looked like they had a little bit of jump coming up. I think, they were catching Vegas on the second of back-to-back, so they had a little bit more jump in that first period. I liked the forecheck. I think in that, in that first 15 minutes of the first, you could really see that the Sharks were taking advantage of the transitions. I think that they were defending pretty well in their own zone. And Nicky Knyzhov, I mean, just a kid that has been building his resume as just a steady player. And gosh, I mean, where would we be without him? And where would Karlsson be without him? Because I feel like right now, Nicky is really holding down the pair defensively. And what do you see on that goal by Knyzhov, Mark?
The puck just found the corner. I think the Leonard was screened, and it was just a perfect example of how they say, throw it at the net, good things can happen. And just more on Knyzhov, I fully agree. He's been one of the few bright spots this season. Obviously not the perfect player yet, but for a guy who was just an undrafted free agent coming in and now earning a spot on the roster every single night, putting in the minutes, and not looking bad while he does it. I'm not saying he's ever going to be a top pairing guy, but he's the kind of player you need to round out a lineup, and he's young. He could develop further, and I'm seeing a lot from his game that I like. The goal tonight definitely was a good shot from the point, and you just hope to see more of that from him. He's starting to get more pucks to the net, the more confidence you can see him getting in the NHL. So definitely a good effort from him tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, being a bigger guy, I think he's 6'3", 6'4", or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he can skate blue line to blue line just like the wind. I mean, I am always so floored at how big of a guy he is, but yet how much he can scoot across the ice. It doesn't seem like he doesn't seem like a lumbering oaf out there. He seems pretty graceful, and honestly, it's one of the reasons why he can keep up with Karlsson. Actually, to tell you the truth, Mark, I think Knyzhov might be faster than Karlsson at this point.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, let's just say that Erik Karlsson's tenure in Teal has left me with a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. So anyhow, we'll save that for later. But going into the second period, 29 seconds in, Noah Gregor with just a great quick shot. Noah Gregor inserted into the lineup on the top line tonight with Couture and with Kane and did not look out of place. I mean, honestly, it looked like he was kind of energizing Kane there. I mean, it seemed like both of them were just bowling balls in their, in the offensive zone and really finishing every check that came by him. And, Gregor was creating a lot with just his speed. I couldn't believe at how quick that guy can just shoot the gaps and create 2-on-1s just by moving his feet.
Yeah, I think I really want to see him get this opportunity for at least a period of time. I'd like to see like 5 to 10 games of him getting some time on the top two lines. I don't know how well long-term he fits as a top 6 forward, but he really impressed me tonight. Same thing you were saying. His speed is just game-changing. He creates opportunities with that speed, and I'd say at least 3 or 4 good scoring opportunities tonight were created by him and his speed. So he fit in nicely there on that line.
Yeah, I agree. I think he definitely does really fit nicely with Couture. And I think, again, he brings another physical element to that line. And when you can do that, it elevates the line, and Couture brings the hockey IQ, and he's got two guys with pretty good shots on either side of him. And honestly, I think Couture needs some heavy lifters because he is just playing through something, and you can just see it in the captain. He's just, he's lacking power in his shot, lacking power in his passes. It seems like he's just held together with duct tape and popsicle sticks at this point.
Yeah. And can we talk about how unlucky he's been too? I mean, he hits the post this game. He's got the puck bouncing right in front of the net, and he couldn't connect to get that one in. I don't know what's going on with Couture. And he had a great start to the season, I thought, too. He was on a great scoring pace, but the last, 20 games or so, just no production at all. Yeah.
And then one of the issues that has constantly been plaguing this team, and just it's self-inflicted wound after self-inflicted wound. The Sharks took another penalty. I think it ended up being they took 5 penalties tonight, and the Vegas Golden Knights power play is just okay. I think it's actually in the lower third of the league. But you continually give them opportunity after opportunity, they're going to score. And Mark Stone, sure enough, they put them, I think this was the 3rd power play that they put them on, and they end up scoring on it. It doesn't look very good. I mean, I'm just taking a look at the replay right now. The team just, again, not clearing out the front of the net, not really a lot of physicality in front of Jones, and you've got two Golden Knights parked right in front of Jones, and it's like, guys, I mean, what do you think's going to happen? You know what I mean? You have got an elite player in Mark Stone parked right in front of the net. What do you think is going to happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And I don't know if there's any stats to back this up, but I do feel like Vegas's power play against the Sharks, though, tends to come through. I could be wrong there, but it's just a feeling I get that when I see Vegas going on the power play against us, no matter how good our penalty kill is or how bad their power play may be doing, I just feel like they might score because they're just a team who wrestles away that momentum. And when they find an opportunity to do it, they take advantage of it. And those were 2 examples of it, both Mark Stone's power play goals. They just wrestled away momentum with those, and you could see it in the second period. They pretty much carried that period.
Yeah. I mean, after that power play goal, it was basically all Vegas and the Sharks just trying desperately to hold on. And I mean, it bears out in the stats. In that first period, shots on goal were 11-11, but you go into the second period, it's skewed 2-1 in favor of Vegas, 7-14. I mean, 14 shots on net, and Jones had to make some highlight reel saves. I mean, in that second period, and really was the only reason that kept them into the game, for as long as they were. So, I don't think we can really fault goaltending tonight. And honestly, it just seemed like once the Golden Knights got their ears pinned back and were playing in the offensive zone, I constantly saw the team, having long shifts again. Constantly saw the team dogging it when they needed to get back to the bench. And, the defensive pairings are not aware of when to get on and off the ice. And I saw it multiple times in that second period. And again, it is the thing that, besides the taking a lot of penalties, that the second periods and their shift discipline has been probably those two. Well, I would say also goaltending, inconsistent goaltending as well would be on there in the top 3 for me of issues this season. But I think probably number 1 is second period woes and shift length discipline, because and we talk about the second periods and I think it bears out with the Sharks differential in the second period is that they're on the long change, and I don't know what it is, if they need to be practicing, line changes, far side line changes or what. But gosh, Mark, they can't get out of their own zone in the second period.
Yeah, and I think it's just the defensive collapses as well, constantly turning the puck over, allowing the other team to have the possessions and then pinning them in their own zones as well. So, I mean, you're right, and I think that definitely correlates to the trouble they've had this season with the second period, specifically early on in the season, but even carrying on through the rest of the season as well.
Yeah, and again, I think that causes those self-inflicted wounds, and again, it just puts them in a position to where they're either chasing it in the third, or they're tied going into the third, or they're giving up. They're giving up momentum in that second, and then the other team is just carrying that through. So, and then DJ has saying, Vegas has more grit this year, best third period differential in the league. And, I think he's right. The second round between Vegas and the Avs is going to be something special. So, I can't wait for the playoffs and to see, those teams go up against it. Oh, Hockey Mom, thank you for the donation, super chat donation, $20. Appreciate it. And we've also got some stuff coming in from AJ as well, who's sitting on the media call. So first off, to the broadcast, I was extremely pleased. It's the hottest team in the NHL. We wanted to play hard for Patty, and I think we did. It was a hard-fought game, and we get a point. I mean, what else is he going to say, right? I mean, I think right now the team is just kind of coming to grips with they just don't have the talent to compete against a Vegas.
No, definitely not. And you got to think that this game was kind of like the last highlight game probably of the season. Like, this is something that was definitely circled before the season even started, and with how the schedule shaped up and how the Sharks have performed. I know the points still show us kind of close to the playoffs, but you have to feel like with the schedule coming up, it's not going to get any easier. So this was one of those nights that you could definitely tell that the Sharks came out strong. They were definitely playing for Patty. And I think that might have given them an extra boost to take on one of the top teams in the league. But yeah, the Sharks, I mean, imagine them playing a 7-game series. Well, it probably wouldn't be a 7-game series, but imagine them playing a series against the Golden Knights.
It gets swept in Colorado. 3 games. Yeah, they would get swept in 3 games. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's just that bad. And I mean, we've got a couple people going, a couple people in the chat talking about coaching and stuff. And, to be honest with you, Mark, I mean, I think by the team not really interviewing other coaches, by the team not really, going out and doing a lot of interviews in the off season, I think it kind of was telling, about where the team thought that they were and where their money was going to go insofar as a coach. And I think, at this point they danced with the devil that they knew. I don't think he came in at a high price, but I think I tend to agree with the prevailing theory that Bob Boughner is a transitional coach right now, and I think he's there mostly for trying to get some more younger players integrated and trying to get the team to move in a different direction. But long term, I don't think Bob Boughner is the answer. I don't know where you're at with Bob Boughner, Mark, but that's kind of what I see at the moment.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you. To me, it's hard to tell really with this lineup what if a different coach would have really been any better. I think the real question is when you move on from him, or do you want a coach like him transitioning once you have a lot more of those younger players in the lineup, or do you want a more experienced coach? Let's just say a year or two down the line, a lot of those picks from last year join the team. Do we want him as the coach?
I think we have a Buckeye sighting. All right, let me go ahead and let's add Mark, and then let's add Buckeye, and we got the three of us going. Look at that. Landy didn't screw it up. All right, Buckeye. So what was it like, man? I mean, you were there. What was the atmosphere like? Was it kind of weird with the whole COVID situation? Kind of eerie? I mean, just kind of give us your thoughts on the ground.
Well, honestly, it was a little eerie, just because of everything. I mean, they had only 3,900 fans at T-Mobile Arena, and I'm at the Park MGM, which is, I mean, if they didn't have the pod departure setting up, and we'll get into all that COVID stuff for the arena later, but we're like just a hop, skipping, and jump really from T-Mobile Arena, which was great. So, it was interesting. You only had 3,900 fans in attendance. A lot of Sharks fans in attendance for this one for sure. But it was kind of eerie, but it was kind of nice because it was pretty busy on the second deck where myself and Amanda were sitting, and I thought it was a pretty good crowd. I can only imagine how it would be if it was a full crowd out in there tonight. But it's a pretty nice arena. I'll make you that. But being there, I'm glad I was able to go. I'm glad I was able to be there and see it in person. Kudos to Vegas for giving the salute. They kind of gave a heads up per se before they did all their entertainment before the players would come on. But it was they said, hey, it's not just a night for the Knights are coming home, but it's also a night for our opponent, and let's be classy about it. Let's do this. And it was nice, and it was a nice crowd gesture. I'll try to put some of the footage I have up either on Twitter, Instagram, or on the YouTube channel, because overall it was pretty chill. And as we were leaving, as frustrated and as pissed off I am about the Sharks losing, yay, we got a point. It was kudos. They're like, I had my Marlowe jersey with me tonight, and along with Amanda had her son's jersey. But it was a lot of kudos. It's hey, it's almost they kind of felt bad that they won the game because they know how much Patty was getting in there tonight. So.
Oh, I know. I mean, it just seemed like the whole team wanted to have, Patty win that. Get that game-winning goal. It seemed like the team really did try to rally around him. And going into that third period, I think it kind of bore out. I think we just saw Vegas's depth and Vegas Vegas's talent on display in that third period. I mean, they really just took it to the Sharks all third period. Again, self-inflicted wounds. The Sharks put them on the power play again, and they end up scoring the tying goal, 3:29 into that third period. Again, it's not the fault of the goaltending. I think at that point the system, in their own zone had really broken down on that goal, and again, if you allow Mark Stone to park his butt in front of the goaltender, what do you think is going to happen? You know what I mean? It's not rocket science. I mean, the guy is a hell of a player. You know what I mean? So, again, self-inflicted wounds, not marking guys when they need to mark them, in front of the net, not clearing out trash. Same issues over and over and over again. And it just seems like this team just refuses to learn from its mistakes and continues to make the same mistakes. So
right.
What does that tell you? Does that lead to a coaching thing, or is that a personnel thing, or maybe it's a little bit of both? So, that unfortunate, that's kind of the way that it was. The Sharks were kind of had their tails pinned between their legs, so to speak, or tails firmly between the fins, if you want to go with the Shark pun, for the rest of that third period. Basically a frantic finish at the end with the final few seconds, and then they go into that 3-on-3. And again,
wait, before you get into the overtime though,
yeah,
can we talk about Mario Ferraro? And since Mark's on here, holy crap. I almost pissed my pants when I saw that puck going, and I was like, really? We're going to let that happen on the Marlowe game with 2 seconds left? It's going to just trickle past in? Oh, my God. But, yeah, Landy, way too many penalties. But, oh, my God, Mark, your boy for Vezina. Let's make it happen.
Yep, he was in the perfect place at the perfect time.
Right.
The angle on TV too, I was seeing that, and it almost started happening in slow motion because I was like, "Is this really how the game is going to end?" My God,
dude, where we were sitting, we were in the corner behind Jones, and I'm just saying like, "Oh God, no."
It was a train wreck.
One of those.
Yeah, you were just watching it in slow motion.
Oh my gosh.
Sonic Tonic with the great quote there. Mario with that one save definitely was the game, the play of the game, that's for sure. And I think, you're talking to three guys who are on the Mario Ferraro fan club at this point.
You got that.
I mean, honestly, that the kid is going to be wearing the C sooner than later, and just a hell of a player. It wouldn't surprise me if he ends up, challenging for a Norris one day. I think he's just that good of a player. And I think if he gets the offensive pedigree into his game and pairs it with just a unique understanding of his own zone and where the puck is in his own zone, again, I see very big things for this kid. And again, I think he'll be wearing the C kind of like a Rob Blake. Might be a good comparison for the kid.
Yeah, if that offense could develop, you'd have one of the top defensemen in the league. I mean, he's definitely got the making of the defensive end, the hockey IQ, the energy, the leadership. The only thing missing at this point is a little bit more production offensively. But even there, I think he's got a little bit of an improvement over last year, and you're seeing him jump up in the play with a little bit more confidence. So definitely trending up there too.
And we want to give a quick shout out to all 57 of you watching tonight. We really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. We're at 56 right now, so let's call it a cool 27, and you'll get that favorite soundbite and favorite topic of the game. So we already got the $20 donation. So let's get those likes up, and we'll give the people what they want.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys.
I will say this. I got the I don't know if my camera's gonna pick it up, but these are very rare, especially tonight because of the occasion, and people might be fighting over me with these special pucks. I know I think I ordered about $100 worth of stuff from the Sharks Pro Shop as well with all the Marlowe merch. So it's gonna be pricey. Back to you, Landy.
Take my money.
Right.
Guys, I mean that third period, or that overtime period, was just, that was wacko. And honestly, again, I saw the guys being caught out on those long shifts, and it was very, very evident. And there was one player in particular, and I think you guys all know who I'm talking about, but by the time that he got to the bench, he was so gassed. And being a defenseman and being that gassed doesn't lead to the best of opportunities. Put it to you that way. And I think Jones definitely saved his bacon, I think, twice in that overtime period. Guys, I mean, we talked a little bit about it, Eric, with Mark on the second periods and the long change. But what is it with the team and shift discipline? We have seen this issue all year.
Yeah, it's something that, they can't keep the short shifts, or they see, trying to get one more scoring chance, and then they get hung out too long because of a quick turnover, and they get hemmed in their own zone. You got to be careful with it. And it's a teachable moment for not just the players, but maybe the coaches to say, hey, get puck out of the zone and get it deep, change up.
Yeah.
Because we saw it the other night when Timo was being a little lazy getting off the ice, where he didn't stride to the bench. Yeah, I saw Donato hustle like crazy because he was behind the play. Carlson, I remember in the overtime, he was so gassed, and the puck was getting played upward a bit, and Carlson's like, no, you go back there. We're going to start over again because I can't go any further. And that's probably good, because a turnover and Hurdle's by himself, and you're in big trouble.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we've got Kevin saying, dude, he was spending all of his energy bailing out Couture, and I think that's also part of the problem is Bob Boughner really needs to realize when a player's so injured that he's a detriment to his team. And I think that we're at that point now where we have to really look at Logan Couture and ask, is he healthy enough to be playing right now? I don't think so, guys. I mean, he's just lost everything in his shot. His passing has just, I mean, it looks like the puck leaves at 4 miles an hour off of his stick when he's trying to do a cross-ice pass. There's just nothing left, and I feel really bad because he's the captain and he's trying to leave it all out there. But I think it's also a sign of a good leader to know, hey, you know what, guys, I'm taking away from the team at this point. I mean, I think he's at that point. What are you guys thinking on Couture and just how he's playing through it?
I think he's definitely struggling, but I think you hit a point there that actually is one of the things that I wanted to say, is that I don't understand this thing that Boughner does where who he plays in overtime. I feel like the game is suddenly different in overtime. You have to adjust your strategy, right? We're 3-on-3, and I know Donato and Leonard, for example, are fourth liners, right? Today, at least. They have the legs, though. Why don't you take advantage of that? And anytime I see Couture on in overtime, unless he gets a chance to get a great shot off, I think he's going to be useless because he just doesn't have the speed to compete with that open ice. And you saw it during that shift that I think you were referring to with Carlson. I mean, it wasn't just that he was pinned, too. He was behind the play, I think, 3 or 4 times on that shift. They had opportunities where it could have been 2-on-1s going in the offensive zone, and he's behind the play, and they caught up to him. Then coming back into his own zone, he's behind the play. And it's just, I know he's the captain. I know he's a great goal scorer when he's on his game. But as a coach, I feel like that's where you make those changes. Put more time for Balcers, put more time for Leonard, more time for Gregor.
Yeah, that was
Donato. These are the guys with legs.
That was where I was going to go, and I was going to hand it off to you, Eric. But
Yeah.
Why did Gregor not see, him? You put him and Patty together. Holy shit, that's going to be a fast, set. And you put either, Bernsey or hell, even Ferraro or Knyzhov or EK on the back end. And oh my God, I mean, you could be transitioning back and back and forth. And I mean, you can just see these guys fly. I mean, so what is the hesitancy there from the coach, and why is he reluctant to move off his veterans?
Well, I think first and foremost, he's kind of like PDB in that sense, and he's come from, the PDB coaching tree per se, that he likes his veteran players. At the same time, first off, you talk about him coming out of the lineup. Who are you going to put out there? Handemark? I mean, you're going to put out, insert any guy that's been coming in and out of the lineup. And right now, even though they've lost six in a row, yay, we got a point. Does injured Couture or a rookie who hasn't done much give you the best chance to win? Remember, they're still thinking they got a shot at the playoffs, and so the Couture is going to probably come out there as much as possible. Should he not get as much ice time? At this point, I think it's come to a conclusion that, yeah, that's the case. And he took a bad hit in the third period, which, didn't see that one. But, the thing is that the guys they're trying to make the playoffs. They still have a shot. And until they completely poop themselves and get mathematically eliminated, Couture is going to probably be out there. I can almost guarantee you, if the Sharks are eliminated, and again, I'm the optimist of the group here, until they're completely eliminated, Couture is going to be out there. And I guarantee you, if they are eliminated from the postseason, it's going to be, I would assume that you'll definitely see Couture getting, the time off. Now, as for overtime, yeah, I like to see more than just, Burns, Hurdle, Marlowe, and go back to EK65, Couture, and, who? LeBanc, so.
And that's the other thing. That's the other elephant in the room right now is they're just not getting enough out of Kevin LeBanc and Timo Meier at this point. And these are guys that are expected to really step up and really be the next generation of Sharks. And it's like, where the hell have they gone? You know what I mean? Like, Timo at this point, let's take a look at what Timo did tonight. Timo had 15 minutes of ice time. Okay, 3 shots on goal, 1 hit, and 1 block. Good, but only a minute of power play time, so that kind of goes to show you what Bob is thinking on his, rewarding his player, for the effort that he's been putting in. But guys, I mean, at some point we have to ask, okay, when is it, when's enough with this kid, with starting really slowly and having him have to work his way into the season? I don't know what the answer is to get him and LeBanc, going again. But I mean, for guys that are taking up as much cap space as there, I think between the two of them, it's $11 million, and getting the production that they're getting, what is the answer to these two? Is it time to start thinking about moving on from one of them? Because I mean, I feel like you can't have both of them because of the way that they start. They both are notoriously slow starters, and seemingly complementary pieces at this point. Not play drivers. I mean, I don't know, guys. Talk me off the edge here of wanting to see one of these two traded. Mark, what are you thinking?
I think I'm okay with trading them if you're going to get like a big piece in return or some sort of good haul. But the problem is that we are moving towards a youth movement, and they fit that mold. Now, the problem, I agree with you, is they're just too inconsistent. And the problem is you can't have two players that are both inconsistent. You got one firing for 2 weeks at a time, then the other guy's invisible, and the other guy's firing for 2 weeks, and the first one's invisible. And it's just, this has been playing the Sharks this year and even last year. You looked at those guys 2 years ago, and they were very consistent, putting up big numbers, 55, 66 points or whatever it was for each of them. And now they're barely guys who are averaging half a point per game. You know, that's just not what they're getting paid for, especially, and also not the development you want to see from guys. I mean, they're both regressing pretty much.
Yeah, regressing hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you guys, is that, you know, they aren't showing up, and now that they got their money, they're not showing up. Gee, I wonder where we've heard that conversation before. And again, it's in that sense, EK65 gets a ton of crap from all of us. You know, I personally like him because he's got a great first name, but I digress. Outside of that, remains to be seen. You know, Burns, he got his first goal in like 20 some odd games. Where have you been? Timo, Kevin, you're the guys that they're going to be building around with this reset. I mean, seriously, what are you doing? You're on the fourth line? I guess you just want a freaking paycheck. Get together. You know, Cooch, I get it. You're hurt and everything, and I appreciate the effort you're trying to do to get through this. Gosh, you're hurting too. Evander, kudos to you, man. You've been a hell of a guy, but everybody needs to step it up. I mean, you guys, I'm sorry. And again, I'm the optimist of the group. You have a golden opportunity because nobody wants the fourth seed to play Colorado in the first round of the playoffs, and you're just blowing it. If you're going to suck, I get it, you're going to suck. But at the same time, you have a chance to get into the playoffs very easily, and you're just letting it walk away. And that, my friends, is going to piss off people and piss off the fan base.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, Eric. I mean, it's gotten to the point where they're, you know, that the product on the ice is just not fun to watch. You know what I mean? And that's a big issue. I mean, because you can be losing and it could be close games or whatever, and you know, it's interesting. You know, it's back and forth, it's nail biting and fun. But when you're like getting blanked 5-2 or you're getting, you know, you're getting 4 goals scored on you within one period or some other crap like that, it's just not fun anymore. And like, for instance, you have a guy like Rudy Balcers, right, who was a waiver wire pickup and has now surpassed both Timo and LeBanc. And LeBanc in the lineup, and it's a freaking waiver wire pickup. This is a guy who we've always thought, okay, you know, maybe he can slot in the top 9, but holy shit, he's looking like a second line player because your 2 second line player kind of guys are not pulling their weight.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
One other detail on Timo, because you were mentioned possibly moving on from him. I'm not 100% sure on the rules, but in his final year of this current contract, he gets $10 million. So for us to qualify him, following that deal, we're going to have to offer him at a minimum $10 million. So the closer you get to that final year, he's probably going to lose trade value unless he shoots up his production.
Basically, he'd have to be 65 to 70 point player in order to make that qualifying offer be decent. And right now, from what I've seen this season, he's not that player. He's just flat out not that player. Yeah.
No.
Well, boys, I think it comes around to that time once again. Let's go.
Hey, 30 likes. We have 68 people watching. Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Are we getting to that favorite segment? Because we do have to talk about how crazy it is to wear these bad boys at a hockey game.
All right. Well, let's rock and roll.
goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around.
Yes, that's right. It is the reach around. Well, this evening it was packed full of games on the NHL docket. You had first the Hurricanes and the Lightning coming out in overtime 3-2. The Panthers and the Blue Jackets. Panthers beating up on the Blue Jackets 4-2. Panthers looking like they're going to make a little bit of a run here, guys. Red Wings and Stars, final in the shootouts 3-2. The Stars take that in the shootout and maybe have a little life. I don't know, but I think their runways is starting to get real short here. Predators continue to bounce back very, very well. They beat up on the Blackhawks 5-2 tonight. And, the Predators kind of riding their ship, and they picked a hell of a time to do it. The Wild beat up on the Coyotes 5-2 as well. Again, it is that hot potato for fourth place. It's like, I don't want it. No, do you want it? No, I don't want it either. So anyhow, the fourth place remains as much as a mystery as it did going into these games. The Senators beat the Flames 4-2. The Flames continuing to kind of be almost like a mirror of the Sharks in that North Division, where there was at the start of the season some room for optimism, and I think I think that there were some high expectations in Calgary for what that team was going to do. Whether those were misplaced or not, I don't think we're really at the point to say it. But the Flames just continue to go into that downward spin, and again the Senators beating them 4-2. The Oilers beating the Canadiens 4-1. Carey Price goes out with an injury in that one. And
oh boy,
yeah, it's looking like that Canadian ship is starting to take on a lot of water, guys, and I don't know where they're going to end up, but it's not looking good over in Montreal land, that's for sure. And then your night,
at least they have Jake Allen. I was going to say at least they have Jake Allen.
Yeah, Kevin Lacey pulling up something I think we could all probably agree with. Can we just give the fourth Pacific spot to a Central Division team? Oh boy, yeah, I agree. It's just like it is just insane how nobody wants that fourth playoff spot. It's just insane. And then of course the nightcap tonight, the Golden Knights beating the Sharks 3-2 in the shootout. But of course, I think that was the end result of that game is just a footnote to the Patrick Marleau night. And, again, I think it was shown across the entire league. If you had been watching a little bit of the pre-games for different games, I think there was a lot of video messages being sent out to Patty and congratulating him. Of course, you had the tribute from Gary Bettman. And again, even NHL.com, I mean, the leading story was Patrick Marleau, beating the all-time games played record by Gordie Howe and taking over sole first place.
Now, who is the dick that works for the Toronto Star?
Oh, jeez.
That's like basically saying he doesn't deserve it. He's only doing this to get the record and all that stuff. It's like, shut the fuck up. Nobody likes you in the Toronto media. Nobody likes you with the Leafs. And then you got to badger yourself in there because you need some clout. Shut the hell up.
Yeah. Just another reason why I can never root for Toronto. I know he's not part of the team, but it's just that city. Just like you knew if there was going to be something bad about Marleau today, it was going to come from somewhere in Toronto, whether it's some idiots online or someone like him in the press, just someone saying something stupid, showing lack of appreciation for the guy that he is.
Yeah, Steve Simmons, and then I think the other asshole on the list is Larry Brooks over in your neck of the woods, Mark. That guy's a piece of work. But
didn't he get into it with Boyle one time?
Yeah. If you ever want to feel good about yourself, go watch Boyle tear into him.
Right. Oh yeah, no, definitely a classic. But I mean, honestly, guys, records are meant to be broken. It's incredible. It's an incredible feat of longevity, and I mean, hell, even Gordy, I mean, when he, set that record, he basically set that record from, I think, what was he was like 50 years old in his last game or something, 51 or something, when he was playing with Mark, when they were on the WHA with the Whalers, and then the Whalers went into the NHL, and I think Gordy was there for 1 year, and I think, I want to say, I think he was 50 or 51. So even the games that he padded onto his record, I mean, you could say that, this is a guy playing out the string because he wanted to play with his son. I mean, again, we could have all sorts of arguments about this, but I think it's just a feat that anybody could come, within spitting distance of Gordy, let alone surpass him.
And that's the other thing too. Don't forget, if you can even Google this up, because I was looking up for graphics for everything. Gordie Howe played in the IHL for the Detroit Vipers in the 90s. Played one shift to extend his streak of playing in every decade up to like 6 or 7, whatever it was. So if you want to say gimmick or anything, Gordie kind of did the same thing. And you get the blessing from the Howe family. I don't know if you saw it from Ross McEwen, who does things for the Chronicle, along with for the Sharks on NHL.com. The Howe boys were saying, hey, he's shaking his hand right now for doing it. Like you said, records are meant to be broken. And heck, I think this week Patty will go 900 games in a row. I mean, kudos to him and kudos to everybody who's done it. And I know Chris in the chat, Marleau endured 2 lockouts and COVID. Think about it. You get 34 games from 2013, another 82.
He could be at 2,000 games.
Record would have been,
he could have been at 2,000 games.
He could be pushing Howe's all-time record, including his WHA numbers.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, no, I totally agree. The whole Howe family was so gracious, to Patrick, and I know that Patrick has always, had a soft spot for Gordy too. I know that those two had had some good interactions and stuff, and again, you could not ask for a better man to break a great man's record. You know what I mean? Gordie Howe is an incredible player. He again, Mr. Hockey, a guy that had time for anyone, would stay late at the rink to sign autographs or skate with little kids or whatever. And you think, okay, man, you just hope that as good and as a humble a human being as that would break that record. And I don't think that there's anybody better to fit that bill than Patrick Marleau, insofar as humble and playing the game the right way and, being there for the fans and just being a great human.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone who's classier than Marleau. I mean, he's a good family man. He's a good hockey player. He's a hard worker. The guy, has he ever complained before? I don't think I've heard him complain. He's literally like an absolute legend in all aspects you look for in a professional player, especially in an era where you have a lot of personalities. You're like, oh, thank God that guy's not on my team. I don't want to have to root for him, But Patty Marleau is like one of the easiest people to root for and has been since he started. So this accomplishment, it goes more than just being someone who put up points and goals. It's like the toughest sport to play physically. And this guy has missed how many games in his career? Not many.
Yeah. Exactly. And again, doing it with class. I think you could probably ask all of the players that have played against Patrick Marleau, and I don't think that you would have. I think you would have less than a handful would have anything bad to say about him. I mean, he's just classy guy, good guy, understated, and I think that rubs a lot of people the wrong way that he's understated, but. Again, that he's a rural kid, coming from Aneroid, and grew up with the family manners and Canadians just happen to be a little bit more of a friendly people, and respect. The respect thing is, I think, a totally different ball game up there. And again, he just came from a really good family, and never, I mean, even through all the accolades, even through all of the success, never let it go to his head. Never had a big head about it. Never. And again, I don't think that you could ask for a better human to break that record. And I think Gordy is probably looking down on him, smiling and going, I'm glad that kid did it versus somebody else.
And to quote Drew Remenda, a good Saskatchewan boy himself, both of them from Saskatchewan. I don't know if you guys caught the Easter eggs on the logo for Saturday, but the green and the green for the logo we put together. Little shout out to the Paris of the Prairies, as I think Remenda has called it before. So definitely. What would Jeremy Roenick say? He would say, I would hope he said good for you, but he'd probably tell him gutless, and then he goes on to win the series. That's all I'm saying. Take that, JR.
Yeah.
By the way, thank you for Game 7 2008, though.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, gentlemen. Well, we're rounding out the hour. And I think that this is a good place to put the bow on it. So, Puck Guy, thank you for joining us. Where the people can find you, and what are you up to in the next few days? Are you going to hang out over at the Strip? You going to go a little crazy? What's happening?
Oh, yeah, you know me, go crazy. Well, first off, I wouldn't be doing this unless I'm fully vaccinated. So I'm glad to do this. And, Man and I are going to hang out and enjoy tomorrow will be nice and everything, but I'll give full kudos to T-Mobile Arena. They had everything set up. They had all the entrances divided up into all the sections, so you go up to your level, to your section. Of course, they have a tiered seating arrangement, so you can separate. You just not one like there is in the Shark Tank. So we couldn't go anywhere besides that. So it was nice. It was pretty simple and easy, and everything is credit cards or on the card, which I think the Sharks are planning to do when they open up the Shark Tank on Monday the 26th. So all around it was a nice way. I'm glad it wasn't as busy and everything, but I'm really glad to join you guys on this edition. I mean, my goodness, we still have 72 people watching. So thank you very much. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I'm at PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. I got a bunch of stuff that I'm going to put up on Instagram in a little bit. And I appreciate being here, and I'm fortunate to do this from Las Vegas. and it'll be fun. I just got to figure out now, guys, Taco Bell Cantina or Shake Shack
Taco Bell Cantina
after the show.
Yes.
Ooh, but there's also White Castle. Ooh.
Where's White Castle?
It's on the Strip. It's I don't know, man. It's too many options. Too many good options. All right, Mark. What are you up to these days, and where can the people find you? And don't start talking about food, or you're gonna get me hungry.
I won't talk about food, but I will give a shout out to my UMass hockey team winning the national championship last week. I was in Pittsburgh for the Frozen Four, and that was one of the best weekends of my life. So that was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, no Sharks prospects there right now, but still great to watch. But yeah, as always, people can find me at Mark SJS.
Marky Mark. All right. Well, for me, I'm at Eric Landy. You can use my first name, Eric, spelled with a K the right way, and Landi on all the social media garbage. As far as where you can find me, well, you can find me on tealtownusa.com doing some cool stuff. I'm also doing some hits over with the Genuine Draft, and yeah, just trying to hang in there and wait for greener pastures in the off season, I guess. But in case you missed us, or you just want to watch us again, or you want to listen to us while you're in the car, on your commute. Check us out across all of these great podcast platforms. That includes Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart, and then, of course, the umbrella that is covering it all is tealtownusa.com. So, for the team, we will end it this way with our normal sign out. Keep it teal. Keep it real.
No.
Keep it teal. Keep it real teal. Thanks everybody and have a great one.
Sure, call me now.